to the cloud. There we go. Well, I think we'll go ahead and get started, even though we've got a few more folks that are coming in. But I want to welcome all of you on behalf of Dimensions in Travel. We are delighted to have you joining us today for our Rockies to Red Rocks journey with Rocky Mountaineer. This is the 16th in our travel agency series of virtual events about exciting destinations and great ways to see those places. My name is Diana St. James, and I'm one of the owners of Dimensions in Travel, along with Jill Romano. And Dimensions in Travel has been in business for 42 years. And we miss traveling so much, and we know that you do too. I'm gonna let a few more folks in here.
I've been trying to do that as well,
Oh,
Diana.
you have? Okay, great. Thank you, Aaron.
Yeah.
I'll just press on then. These virtual events are a great way for us to go somewhere while we wait to safely travel again, and they keep the spirit of travel alive for all of us. Before we get started, I want to cover a few housekeeping points. We've placed all of you in listen-only mode now, so your microphones are off, and this will help us minimize any background noise. If you have your Zoom view set right now to gallery, where you see everyone, you may want to change it to speaker view so that in the upper right-hand corner, you only see one person speaking, not the whole crew that's here, because we've got almost 70 people signed up for this today. You can ask questions. If you, anytime during the presentation, just post them in the chat box down below. And at the end, we will be facilitating the chat. So today we'd like to take you on a virtual journey to from Denver to Moab with Rocky Mountaineer. This is a brand new route for them, as they previously have only operated in Western Canada. And now let me just take a quick peek and see if I've got Jill on here now. Oh, not quite yet. Okay. I think, Aaron, we should just go ahead, and I think I'd like to have you just go ahead and introduce yourself, and we'll bring in Jill at the end when she's able to arrive. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
That's no worries at all, Diana. Thanks so much, everyone, for joining us for our happy hour. Some of you may recognize me. I think I was Diana's very first guest on this virtual series. Was that correct?
Yes.
In October. So
Yeah.
I must not have stuffed it up too bad. I've been invited back. But I think the exciting news is if you were with us in October, we kind of took you through the Canadian route, Banff, Lake Louise, Jasper, Whistler, and the like, and told you all about our trains and our routes and our experiences there. But since we spoke, we've got a bit more good news here. So we've actually expanded into the U.S. and kind of this like little choppy slideshow that you see on your screen right now is just it ties in with my personal history, because we're going to be operating in the Western U.S. On Union Pacific lines. So the black and white pictures are from courtesy of my grandpa Carl, and he actually worked on a lot of the lines that this train is going to be on in the Southwest, and particularly in the Utah area there. That's he and I, and pictures of the Utah yard. The color pictures are from my uncles who worked on the Canadian Pacific line. So I am a third generation fanatic as well as train employee. So it's a labor of love for me, and I think it's just the grandest and best way to travel here. So without further ado, let's kind of get into what we offer for the Rocky Mountaineer. So traditionally, it's been Western Canada only, with occasionally you would do little Seattle connections. So we operate in the Western Canada. We don't do cross country. We stay in the prettiest part of Canada, which is the coastal mountain range, which becomes part of the Cascades as you work your way south, as well as the Canadian Rockies. Actually, 6 or 7 different mountain ranges all converge into this area of British Columbia and Alberta here. Here it is zoomed in a little bit. Now we have 3 or 4 trains traveling anytime in Western Canada, and we are going to be operating next year. We anticipate that the Canadian border will be open in a couple of months and everything will be fine. So if you're interested in that, we're happy to get you quotes on that, Diana. And there's Jill out right now, Diana. I'll let her in.
Wonderful. Great.
But a couple notes on the type of travel we do. So we are considered the top luxury train in the world at the moment. for global train travel. Some big differences for us compared to any of our competition is we don't have any sleepers on board the train. On board the train, we do allow you to take naps, of course, but we travel daylight only. So the company's philosophy is we don't want you to miss a moment of the scenery. So we stay in some of the most iconic alpine towns throughout the American and the Canadian Southwest there, and we want you to be well rested and just be able to soak in these different destinations and get out and explore a little bit. So that's kind of our MO. So typical day on board the train, about 9 to 5. So sometimes on the Canadian routes, just a little bit longer, but about 8 to 10 hours on board the train during the day. So typical day on board, you're going to board at one of our amazing stations. If you're at one of the larger ones, there's going to be grand pianos playing, bagpipers playing as you board. All the staff is gonna be lining the tracks for you as you get on board the train. So it's quite the grand affair as you pull out. You'll see the upper right here. The meals are all inclusive on board the train. So you're typically getting 2 meals a day on board the Rocky Mountaineer. Generally breakfast and lunch, depending on what time of day we're operating there. And of course, that's all inclusive, and that goes for your drinks as well. It's going to be top shelf drinks, beer, wine, juices, whatever. They're going to open the bar on board the train between 9 and 10 a.m. In the morning. The hosts always tell me that they'll open it earlier if there's a lot of Australians on board the train, which I think is kind of funny, but probably true. Lots of sightseeing. As soon as we pull out of the station, you're into the mountains. You're into those amazing photography opportunities, and you see the host in the middle, on the lower middle here in this. Every car on Rocky Mountaineer will have 2 to 4 hosts, depending on the size of the car, and they're going to be taking care of you, serving you, helping you mix and mingle and introduce you to your new friends, but they're also spotting for wildlife and iconic historical markers there. So the train, we go along at about 25, 30 miles an hour, which we call Kodak speed, so you can take those perfect photos. But if we spot something, grizzly bear, black bear, moose, you'll feel the train slow down because the hosts are all mic'd up together, and they'll slow it down to 1 to 5 miles an hour so you can take those perfect photos along the way. Lower right here, you'll see a hotel. We're going to get you the very best hotels in any of the destinations we're at. And the neat part about it is you don't have to hassle with your luggage on board the Rocky Mountaineer, because we move it ahead of the train. Because remember, we're going at a more leisurely pace. So that luggage is checked into your room at your next destination. So when we pull into the station at the end of the day, we'll hand you your room key on board the train. Quick little transfer, either 5 minutes on the motor coach or just a walk across the street in some cases, and no check-in at the hotel. You already have your key, and your bags will be waiting for you, so you can start exploring that community, have a drink, have dinner, get a walk around town, and it's easily done there. So before we get into kind of our new route experience in Western USA between Denver and Moab, I do want to kind of touch on health and safety here. So Diana gave me a good point here. She said, Aaron, your presentation is great, but there's a lot of people without masks on there. So keep in mind, these presentations were created before COVID for the most part. We will be wearing masks if you're traveling in 2021. And we will follow the top WHO as well as local guidelines and local government guidelines for safety. I anticipate we will run at half capacity on these train cars. So a typical train car, about 50 people. So I anticipate no more than 30 guests on board any of our train cars, totally spread out. It'll be contactless check-ins. The cars are able to be misted and cleaned twice a day. We don't do that while you're on board, of course. Special filters that bring in the fresh air from just outside of your car. It's not recycled through the entire train car. So everything is absolutely self-contained. So I think you'll find it a step above what anybody else in the industry will be able to offer, just because of the self-contained nature of each of these rail cars there for you. So a bit about Rockies to the Red Rocks. The history behind it. So we were looking to add a new route in the States for a long time. This one was planning on coming in 2023, but because when COVID happened, we realized that we wanted to move up the timetable because there was going to be a number of people that wanted to stay closer to home stay inside the States, maybe not deal with a passport situation or be stranded overseas. So we moved up the timetable. We will be operating our introductory season from mid-August until late October this year. So it really is going to be a prime time to explore this wonderful destination. So I'll kick things off with a very short, just 1 minute video. Hopefully it's not too choppy with the connection, but if not, even if it is, there's some stunning imagery on here. And then we'll start talking about the route and the towns and the hotels and the experience itself.
Extraordinary place. Deserves an extraordinary way to see it. Our newest route, Rockies to the Red Rocks, brings 30 years of Rocky Mountaineers' world-class service to the stunning desert vistas of the American Southwest. Traveling from the vibrant Denver, Colorado, past some of nature's wonders, vast canyons, chromatic deserts, and panoramic views, to the mesmerizing red rock landscapes that twist through the bright blue sky. It's rail travel at its best. After all, if you're going to see an extraordinary place, you want an extraordinary way to see it.
All right, hopefully that came through okay for you folks. So a little bit about this route. So it's going to be 2 days on board the train. Here's a good overview of it. Now the train it can go east or westbound. For the purposes of today's kind of chat, we'll be talking about the itinerary from Denver to Moab, Glenwood Springs to Moab, and then connecting on to Salt Lake City and Las Vegas. But you can certainly start in the west and work your way towards the east. And in fact, my personal preference, having driven this a number of times in my younger years, would be actually to start west to east. But whatever your preference is, we'll be certainly able to accommodate. So it's going to be 2 days on board the train. Plus, you can do as long as you like to stay in Denver with add-ons, as well as stay in Moab and the national parks as long as you like. Everything with Rocky Mountaineer is customizable from the beginning and end of your rail journey there. So let's talk about day one. So day one with departing Denver is going to be about an 8-hour train day. So we get on board the train at about 9 a.m. And that's actually a little bit later start than our Canadian routes, which can be around 7:30 and a little bit earlier. So a leisurely start here. And you'll be on board the train 8 hours. You'll be getting in pretty much sharp because there's very light rail traffic on this particular spur here into Glenwood Springs at about 5 p.m. This is dotted with just these stunning canyons that the waters have eroded over the centuries and the millennia here. But we start the day off right at Big Ten Curve, which is actually considered one of the current engineering marvels. And it was basically to mitigate the grade getting over the Continental Divide here. So Coal Creek Canyon, Gross Reservoir Dam. I'll show you a couple of the highlight photos. Red Canyon is one of them here. You can just see how far it's eroded down over the millions of years. It's the Colorado's been working its way through it. Gross Reservoir Dam, one of the largest and most imposing dams in the western U.S. here. And just you'll see shots of the rivers throughout this presentation here. And I do want to note the rivers, similar to our Canada routes that we offer, we're along waterways almost the entire time. I believe it's 75 or 80% of this particular trip is going to be along the water, and much of it is going to be in areas that aren't drivable. So you'll be in spots where it just would be even difficult to hike into, and just such a unique perspective for you on either day that we're traveling here. And here's just some other imagery of shots along the river as we're making our way along on day one. So this is the tail end of the southern part of the U.S. Rockies here as we head towards Glenwood Springs. Now you'll overnight in Glenwood Springs. Remember, the luggage moves ahead of you. You'll have time to get into those hot springs and check out the local shops if you want there. Day two, a little bit of a shorter day on day two because the train is actually turning around and coming back with our eastbound guests that day. So an earlier start on day two. We get going around 7 a.m. Again, breakfast is going to be served on board the train. This is all about those red rock formations, those hoodoos, uh, and the like, and just stunning juxtapositions of the mountain ranges along the skylines there. And you'll actually pass through national parks as you see Brook Cliffs and head into Moab. So getting in right around lunchtime on this slightly shorter day here. So here's a shot of Mount Garfield, which is part of the Brook Cliffs that I just mentioned there. And I'll show you a couple of other real stunning shots here of what you can expect to see along the way, the types of vistas and scenes you'll see along the way on day two here. I do not believe this is a view from the train here, but it is the kind of shot that you'll see with the hoodoos and the unique rock formations in that area. So we'll talk about the towns in a moment, but I do want to talk about the onboard train experience. So in Canada, we offer two categories of coaches on board. We've got the Silverleaf and we have the big double-decker Gold Leafs. Both of these are luxury categories, but they just have different types of constructions. We do not offer the Gold Leaf in the US route, mainly because the tunnel sizes and overpasses are too short in the US, so we can't fit the big double deckers on the Union Pacific's routes. So we'll be going down with our own fleet of Silverleafs. These are all beautiful brand new cars, recently constructed out in the Toronto area here. It's going to be single story train cars. So every car is a dome fleet. So a lot of other train lines, you'll have to walk down to the bar car, the dome car, the restaurant car. Everything is in your car, in your Silverleaf car here. You'll see that the seats are set quite low. So you do have a panoramic view. The windows go quite high up here in Silverleaf. So your view is absolutely stunning. Probably the main point of difference versus gold and silver that I do like to impress upon people in these chats is, well, this team of chefs, many of them come from Michelin starred restaurants. The dining is done seat side. So picture first class in the airlines 20, 30 years ago when it was quite the grand affair. So your dining comes to you and we can sort out any sort of dietary restriction you might have. Just give us a little bit of advance notice, and usually 3 or 4 courses on the dining here in the Silverleaf. And again, it's all inclusive throughout your journey on board the train. Optional before and after and in the evenings, but we can certainly arrange your meals wherever you want, along the route outside of the train portion. Now, if you're looking for an upgrade opportunity, I'll note that we do have Silverleaf Plus. Now, what this is we have a lounge car. This is an old photo, I should caution. They are giving this lounge car, a complete facelift. Silverleaf Plus will attach to one of the Silverleaf cars. And this will be an added bar car. So if you're feeling like you're going to need to stretch your legs, maybe have some higher end cocktails, some more appetizers and the like, you can stretch your legs and go into the Silverleaf Plus lounge car, and that is a slight upgrade fee on that, and this one tends to be booking out a little faster than our other categories of seats. So let's talk a little bit about each of the cities. So starting with Denver, Colorado. So we'll be planning on leaving from Union Station down there. It's right down there by the pedestrian mall, pictured lower left. So there's wonderful, easy shopping in the area there. Denver is considered the Napa Valley of microbreweries. So you can check out plenty of bars and plenty of microbreweries there. Art institutes. They call it the Dam Museum, but it's the Denver Museum of Art, I guess, is what it's called there. And they also have several historical museums for the state of Colorado that are within an easy walking distance as well there. Glenwood Springs, this is your overnight hotel. So getting in around 5 typically on the westbound, 7 on the eastbound. Plenty of time to explore. This is a hot springs town. 2 hot springs in town that you're going to be able to access when you get in the evening. Wonderful culinary options, great bars, an easy small town. It's an alpine town that hasn't been completely run over by the Hollywood set here. So you'll find it very authentic. And I'm really glad that we get in so early and have plenty of time to explore it here. Here's just another shot of one of the hot springs hotels, just an evening shot, just really, really stunning, I think. And then Moab, Utah is our third destination here, outside of Vegas and Salt Lake, of course. Moab, really funky little artistic kind of downtown, spas, local artisans. There's no chain restaurants and shops in this area here. So just a real authentic experience. And I recommend staying 2 or 3 nights in the Moab area to really soak in those national parks there. Here's just some of the shots around there. It looks like a nice river to float down for sure. And you just see these stunning hoodoos and eroded rock formations scattered throughout the landscapes here. Now, evening times, the hotels. Remember, we don't leave you to your own devices to arrange your hotels. We will include them for you, and your travel advisors, Diana and Jill, will help you out with that. And each destination will give you a choice of hotels, and it's whatever location and type of hotel you're after, we'll be able to accommodate here. So for Moab, it's the Hoodoo Moab Curio Collection, the Hyatt Place, and Hilton Homewood Suites, all well-known brands, higher-end business hotels to stay in there as well. Here's some shots of the interior. As you can see, clean, great place to base yourself out of as you're heading out into the national parks. Glenwood Springs, these are more of historical. So the Glenwood Springs Hot Springs Hotel, I showed you a great night image of that a moment ago. That's the more modern property in town. Hotel Denver and Hotel Colorado are your more historical and character hotels. So these are over 120 years old, both of them. I think that Al Capone stayed in one, and both the Roosevelts had stayed in one of the other ones here. So there's quite a lot of history attached to it. And as you can see, more the classic railroad era hotel rooms for this overnight stop. Now for Denver, we've got a little bit of everything. And really, you can book any hotel you want in Denver, and we can get you there. But the 3 that we've partnered with are right there at Union Station area. Top of your screen is the Maven. This is a funky, artsy, more modern property, about a block and a half away, 2 blocks away from Union Station. Lower left is the Crawford Hotel, more of a classic railroad era hotel, and it's a classic railroad era hotel because it's literally in the railroad station. So if you really want that unique setup and place to stay, I love the Crawford as a destination. And about a half a block away is the Oxford, again another classic railroad era hotel. You can actually see the station in the background on this lower right photo. And again, all 3 of these hotels are beautiful, very centrally located as well. So let's talk a little bit about the packages. So if you've got friends and family in Denver or want to do your own itinerary, Rocky Mountaineer is absolutely flexible for anything you want to do. You can just book the train journey plus the Glenwood Springs Hotel and arrange the rest of it with Diana and Jill. Or you can have us do everything. And at the moment, we've built 12 tour packages with 2 days on the train plus motor coach sightseeing, if you like. And this is going to Las Vegas, and this is connecting to Las Vegas or Salt Lake City, whichever you like. And there actually is an airport in Moab if you just want to get out quickly, but it's a smaller regional airport. So another option that I really wanted to talk about, other than the luxury motor coach connection option and touring option, is we can also have a self-drive itinerary for you. So we can have a car rental waiting for you, give you the itinerary and the park passes and the places to go, and then you can have the car at your disposal for the entire time. And I've done this a number of times on our Canadian routes, and it's one of my favorites. I just love being able to go at my own pace. If something really speaks to my heart, I can stay there longer. If it doesn't appeal to me, I can just see it real quick and or skip it entirely. So I quite like the self-drive option if you feel up to it there. Here's a couple of my favorites, just the classic. This is just a night in each of them, but you can of course add on with Diana and Jill, no problem. And here's another favorite, the Salt Lake City option. I think one of the dinners is at Brigham Young's old house there. And this is one of those that can be done by car or motor coach. And then the Las Vegas option here with lots of nights, lots of dinners included, and 3 days of guided hiking. So what I really like about these itineraries is we don't just leave you to your own devices. When you get on, after you get off the train, when you get onto the bus, you'll have a guide working on behalf of Rocky Mountaineer that's going to really tell you all about it here. It's not just strictly sightseeing. They're going to get you out and immersed in it and really increase your knowledge and entertainment there. Some other notes. We really, in the COVID world, we really want to be flexible with you guys. So right now for Rockies to the Red Rocks, you can secure your space for next year for $25 refundable deposit. Now 20% is due by the end of the month, but we have sold half of our seats for next year already. So if you're interested, I do encourage you to hold it. It's refundable. And then the 20% is due in January 31st. And that's going to be refundable for another 60 days past that. After that, with us, again, we're flexible because of the current conditions with COVID. We're allowing up to 2 free date changes. You can go as late as 2023, or we can go later in the season if you like, or we can offer name changes if you just want to switch it out with a family member. And those terms are the same if you're traveling with our Canadian product here. I'm going to bring up one particular Canadian route as I head towards wrapping up my end of things here. This is Journey Through the Clouds, guys. This is our route from Vancouver to Kamloops to Jasper. It's some of it. It's my favorite route that we offer because if you've been to Canada or if you haven't been in some time or never been, this is the route with us that allows you to check off every box of all the iconic destinations in Western British Columbia as well as Alberta. You're going to see Hell's Gate, which has 3 times the water volume of Niagara Falls on day one. You're going to see the spiral tunnels, which is considered one of the engineering marvels of the last 120 years. You'll see stunning waterfalls culminating in Pyramid Falls, and you'll see more wildlife on this route than any of our other routes, from what the hosts tell me. And the reason I'm mentioning this particular route is because Jill is going to be leading a group on behalf of Dimensions in Travel in the fall of next year. Was it September, Diana?
Let's see, Jill, do you want to pop in here and talk a bit about your group that you're leading just briefly?
I'd be happy to, Diana. Thank you
Wonderful.
so much. Yes,
Yeah.
We're excited. This is going to be September 6th to the 13th. And, I think Aaron has set it up perfectly. Anybody who's interested in joining us, we'd be delighted. And there is a special offer if you do book by the end of this week. So please reach out to me if you're working with one of the Dimensions and Travel advisors and want to work with them directly. I encourage you to do that as well, but I'd be happy to talk to you also.
Yeah, this is a wonderful itinerary. Checks all the boxes. Mm-hmm. The other added sneaky bonus is this is usually when I'm visiting Vancouver. So if you liked all my jokes today, you might be able to see me in Vancouver. I'll come wave you off and maybe have a drink there in Vancouver.
Sounds great. Thank you.
All right, so that wraps it up, folks. I'm sure I forgot a million things. Diana, are you able to take a look at the chat and see if there's anything I can help with, or do we
Actually,
just want to...
we don't have any questions, but that often happens, I think, because we have such great presenters. So thank you so much, Aaron. We really appreciate it. And as Aaron did mention, not only Jill and I, but we have a number of wonderful travel advisors. You all know who your travel advisor is. But I do want to bring back my business partner really quick, Jill Romano. Jill, we had some issues with logging on earlier, and I just want to have you say hello to everyone briefly, and then we can wrap things up.
Oh, thank you, Diana. And my apologies to everyone for not being on at the beginning, especially to Aaron. It's usually my role to make the introduction, and we're just so thrilled again to have you here today. And you brought wonderful enthusiasm and information to this new route, which I think we're also excited about and can't wait to experience ourselves. So thank you so much. And thank you everyone for joining us today. And if you do have a quick question that you want to put in the chat, feel free to, if you want to reach out to us afterwards with any questions. But, Aaron, I think once again, you did a brilliant job and answered all the questions ahead of time.
Yeah, thanks so much, everyone. It's absolute labor of love. Hopefully we'll see you on board one of our routes here shortly.
I think given the photographs that we saw, absolutely incredible, unbelievable. And I can't wait to go see them myself. So thank you, Erin. And I hope this will be a successful US route experience for Rocky Mountaineer. We really appreciate you bringing your amazing trains down to the United States for us.
Absolutely.
It's our pleasure.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone. And we'll see you hopefully on Thursday when we are here with Globus for a trip to Alaska and to the
Oh,
bluegrass country.
Can I do a timeout? Sorry.
Yeah, sure.
I found some chats here.
Oh.
It looks like they just chatted me. So Margaret, is there liquor available on board too? All right. So I love it. Guys, there is, yeah, it's all inclusive with the drinks. So don't worry about it. As long as you're on board, it's included. Okay. And
Erin, Kathy asked about the pricing, and I was just going to respond to her that, call one of your DIT travel advisors and they can go through the pricing options with you and any special offers that might be going on at that time as well.
right. And the backstory there is because we were rushing to get this product out to give people something for 2021. It's a bit of a work in progress. We can give you approximate pricing, and we won't charge credit cards until pricing's finalized if there's any components missing, but we should have it imminently within days.
And I think that's the great thing about your packages is that you can just do the train, or you can begin to build out from there, adding on the time in Denver, the time in Moab, Salt Lake City, Las Vegas. So there's a wide variety of prices that hopefully should meet everybody's needs.
We do have one more question from Sarah about the hiking opportunities. So I think, Sarah, that might be referring to hiking outside of the train. So extending your time in Moab or expending your time in the national parks.
Yeah, I just saw some beautiful pictures and I thought, oh, that looks so good. I know it's not exactly part of everything, but it's an option, I guess. That's how you explained it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I guess it would just depend on the route and I don't know, the skill of the hikers or something.
Yeah. So Sarah, I've been through this area a number of times in my younger years, but similar to how we typically will set it up is we'll show up with the motor coach. The motor coach will be able to park at probably the more iconic and famous vista right there, and then one of the two. There's usually two guides on a driver guide and then an actual guide on the bus as well. We'll take we'll take another group of folks if they're particularly active and want to get a little bit more. We usually stop at these places for a half hour to an hour.
Is that all?
We're talking about each of these vistas that you would have seen. So
I see.
We're making 8 stops during a day type scenario.
Okay, that explains a bit.
So when you stop, the more you can split off with a more active group if you're feeling
good.
If you're feeling more energetic.
Okay, thank you so much, Erin. That's very clear.
Sarah, I like your photo on your Zoom.
Oh, I know. I couldn't even believe it. I don't even know where that thing came from, but thank you.
All right, thanks so much. I think we're good.
Okay.
But listen, I'm not sure if we recorded it, but anything.
We did record it, so it will be available for everyone to see and share.
Awesome, great. So just reach out any questions, folks, and thanks so much, everyone, for your time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.